Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Sam. Today we're going to be tying a balanced leech, good little still water fly, fish under an indicator. You can also throw it in moving water. Nice little variation of a leech pattern that swims nice and horizontal in the water. It gives you good presentation. To start off, I've got a size 10 90-degree jig hook right here. I've tied in some black thread. And the first thing we're going to do is tie in our pin with a 5/32 bead in there. So to measure it, I'm going to want the head of my fly. So I'm going to want the bead here to sit about a bead length away from where the 90-degree jig hook is. And by the way, you can also use like a 60-degree jig hook for this. That'll work as well, but I just have 90s here. So you want it about that far away, which will leave you like this. And to get this, the pin itself is going to be about 1.25 inches, at least the ones I bought were. I got these at a craft store for like $7 or $8. But they're going to be a little too long, so what you're going to want to do is get a pair of wire cutters, measure out on here. Okay, so I want it to be about right there, and you want to leave some space with just bare hook here. So you measure out your point, you'll take it, then you'll cut it with wire cutters. Just be careful that you don't lose the little end, so you don't step on it later. But once you have it tied, then you're going to file down the very end of it with a nail file, just so that you don't break off your tying thread, because that end can be a little jagged. So once you've got it measured out, you've got it cut, you're going to go back to your vise. You can tie it in. You're going to want to go back and forth a couple times, really secure this down. If you have any head cement or glue or UV resin, I have UV resin on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. Just something else besides a thread to keep it nice and tight. And you want to make sure that when you're measuring out your pin, you don't leave it too short, because then you don't have a whole lot of space to really get it secured down. So once it's in, I'm going to go down, really cinch this guy in. And I'm going to take my UV resin, because that's what I've got. Then I'm going to get my thread back down here. And then we're going to start on our tail. So our tail is going to be black marabou, just strung marabou. I used about half of this feather already. Leaves me with the back half, so I'm going to pull all the tips together at the very end, and then I'm going to measure out a tail that's about hook shank in length. So I'll take that, I'll lay the fibers down. I'm going to tie in right where the pin leaves off, and I just have bare shank back here. So I'll go in there, I'll do a little pinch wrap here, really secure it down. And then I'm going to keep wrapping it back until I get to right before the bend of the hook. And then you can trim your remaining marabou. You can stitch down a little more, kind of even everything out. And then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to tie in a little bit of flash. You can use crystal flash, Flashabou. I had some crystal polar flash on hand, like so. I'm not going to use a whole lot. I'm just going to double it around the thread right here. If you can see, I've just got it doubled around like so. And then I'm going to secure it with a wrap or two, and then I'm going to separate the two fibers onto either side and hold them back. Do wraps back until they're held into place on either side of the fly like I want them. So once you've kind of got it to that point, you can pull the flash back, and I'm going to cut it off right by the tail fibers. Not a whole lot of flash, just a little something. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to make our dubbing loop. So for the dubbing loop, I'm using UV Simi seal with black and UV blue. So I'll want to get some out, Make a nice dubbing loop. You don't need a ton. You need a little bit. This is a pretty sparse fly though. So once you have that dubbing, we can begin to make our loop. So for our dubbing loop, about that much should be good. Just gonna throw that in there. And our dubbing loop, we're gonna start at the back here. And then you can advance your thread forward to right behind the bead here. Then we're gonna take our dubbing, we're gonna put it in our loop right here. Gonna go ahead and catch this down here. You can spread out your fibers a little bit. That looks good. So now I'm gonna spin this guy. And then you can take a wire brush. I don't have a wire brush. I just have an old toothbrush here. That works. And you're just going to rough up those fibers. Get the ones that were kind of caught in your thread. Really spread them out a little bit. You might lose a few fibers here and there, but that's okay. Once you've got that nice and roughed up, you can take your hackle pliers, get a good hold of it. Alright, so once you've gotten that dubbing loop created, you can go ahead and start wrapping. So for the wraps, you're going to be just sweeping those fibers rearward as you're wrapping up the shank of the hook. Just kind of create that swept back body. Like I said before, it's pretty sparse. A little bit goes a long way. You're going to make your way up to the bend in the jig hook. You'll just do wrap in front, then just skip on over to the other side so you're just on the pin. Keep getting those fibers backwards. And my thread moved up a little bit. Okay. You'll go right up against the bead. It's right here, you can tie it off. Couple good wraps, really cinch it down. This stuff likes to rotate around the shank if you're not careful, so give it a few good wraps. You can go ahead and cut the remainder of your loop. I'm going to give this a few more wraps, really build up a dam right behind that bead so it's not moving a whole lot. Then I will just finish with the whip finish here. Again, this is a good point if you want to use any head cement, UV resin, whatever your preference is. If I can remember how to whip finish. Tie that guy off. And again, if you want, you can take your brush Get some of those fibers out. And there you have it. You have a balanced leech. This is great in olive and brown and black. Throwing in a little bit of UV blue, UV purple. Definitely helpful in that deeper water. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead and give tying it a try, and thanks for watching.